Welcome back into Sportsmemo's betting podcast, college football, every game on the board, the closing segment for the Week 5 podcast with Teddy Covers, our closer. Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, great to be here, Drew. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. We got football going tonight, Memphis versus Navy, and we're talking the back fourth here of all the games, Teddy. And I guess first game up, we got Arkansas State versus Troy, right?
Yeah.
All right, 58 being the total, 7.5. Troy Trojans laying at home in this Sun Belt battle. How are you going to bet it?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're seeing a lot of support for the Troy Trojans right now against an Arkansas State team that, A, has been really good in the road dog role. I mean, consistently good. And Arkansas, I got 23-7 their last 30. And when you have a team with a track record like that, they're a one-way team for me. It's not like it's a situation where Arkansas State has been shuttling through coaches. No, this is all Blake Anderson. And, of course, Arkansas State's played really well in 3 of their 4 games. They had the one bad loss at Georgia. Hey, no shame there. That was, of course, the game where Anderson returned to the team after attending to his terminally ill wife. But it's a Red Wolves team that has shown plenty of mettle for me. And Troy, I mean, going around town in Vegas this week, Troy's a hot team. It seems to be on more people's mouths and minds than the Trojans have been in recent years. And, now we're seeing up to 7.5. And, of course, coming up a blowout win over Akron. And, we saw that crazy shootout against Southern Miss before that. To me, this line feels a notch high. 7.5, and it's been bet up from 6. And it blew through the 7 today. In this price range, I can only look at the Red Wolves plus.
All right, Teddy. Staying in the Sun Belt, we got South Alabama at Louisiana, Monroe. Monroe, the Warhawks laying 15 or 16 at home, 57 being the total.
Yeah, it was 38-10 last year, and it wasn't that close. ULM outgained them by more than 300 yards. It really wasn't a contest. And it's definitely worth noting at this stage of the season, when you look at these non-Power 5 schools, you're going to see some really disparate results. Some teams, some non-Power 5 schools take their non-conference schedules seriously. Others, not so much. And we've certainly seen from South Alabama, again, a team that was pretty miserable last year. Not like I've seen a lot from South Alabama this year that says, yeah, they're ready to take the next step. They had that, the opener against Nebraska, in which they hung around and scored some points. But, of course, the last 2 weeks against Memphis, against UAB, double-digit dogs in both games, but they were completely non-competitive. Sometimes you make money with teams like that after they've stepped up in class and now they're playing a team that's more like themselves. But given the series history here, given what we saw last year, my sense is that ULM is a good notch or two better than South Alabama, and that reflected in this point spread.
All right, let's head to Conference USA here. We got UTEP at Southern Miss. Looks like the Golden Eagles laying 26 in Hattiesburg, 49 being the total.
Yeah, I mean, UTEP's offense so far seems to have been like, all right, let's see if we can shorten this game as much as possible. They're playing really slow. Which makes it sometimes difficult to cover point spreads in this range, obviously. I mean, Dana Dimble squad is weak. Both sides of the football. I don't trust UTEP to move the football. I certainly don't trust a defense that's, and again, the numbers aren't atrocious. The game against Texas Tech was 38-3. It wasn't 70-3. Against Nevada last week, they were in the game for a while. They ended up losing by 2 scores. But it's not it's not a UTEP team that I trust to trade points with anybody. Haven't gotten a sense, how Southern Miss is feeling after the Alabama loss last week. They were pretty beat up in that ball game. This feels like a get-right game for the Golden Eagles. And, this hasn't exactly been a competitive series. We're talking about the minor squad that, hasn't hung within 3 touchdowns of Southern Miss in any of the last 4 seasons.
Teddy, staying in CUSA, heading to Houston, Texas here, where we got Louisiana Tech at Rice. Tech laying 9 on the road, 48.5 the total.
Yeah, I mean, this is even though Rice is a big dog in this game, look what they played. They played Army, Wake, Texas, Baylor. It's a step down in class for a team that, again, we're not going to, Rice isn't, they're 0-4. They're not going to win a whole lot of games this season. They're not going to play tight competitive football, but we saw them hang around with Baylor last week, again, shortening the game. We saw that in the opener against Army where they were able to shorten the game. And it's not like Skip Holtz is a let's run up the score guy. And it's not like Louisiana Tech's going to play with pace with the lead. I mean, I understand this total's fairly low, but, 49, 48 and a half, the under makes a whole lot of sense to me in this one. I don't see Rice putting up points in bunches, and I don't see La Tech marching up and down the field. You might see some big plays that's a concern for the Bulldogs, but lean under in this one.
That's a good look there. Yeah, this total does look a little high, inching towards 50. We got UAB at Western Kentucky up next. The Blazers laying 3 on the road, 47.5 the total.
So UAB is a really interesting team. This is a squad that, obviously a program that was canceled and then reinstated, and then to the surprise of everyone, and I mean everyone, once the UAB started playing football again, they were decent, and then they were good. And then last year they were really good, and then they graduated everyone. And I was like, all right, UAB is going to be way down, way down. They lost everyone that they brought the program back with. Well, you watch UAB for the first month of the season, this team ain't way down. That being said, when you're talking about a team that's had it, Alabama State, Akron, South Alabama, those are all much weaker teams in the Western Kentucky squad they face this week. And I know there have been people that have been trying to, all right, we got to fade this UAB team. Oh, they're a must fade. This might be the week to do it. This is the first time they're placing a real opponent in Western Kentucky. And the markets who were way down on UAB to open the season, they're not way down on UAB anymore. So this might be a time to be able to take advantage of a team that is supposed to be down, but has faced bottom feeders and hasn't shown it yet. Western Kentucky, they're no pushover. And if I had to play the game, that's the only way I would look.
Teddy, let's head out to the Mountain West. We got Colorado State at Utah State. Looks like Utah State laying 24 and a half at home, 70.5 being the total. What are you thinking here with the Rams and Aggies?
So one of the things that I do every week as I'm going through doing my research for college football, you're looking for which coaches, the hot seats. And for the first time this week, I saw talk about a Mike Bobo buyout at Colorado State. And they're saying, oh, well, we can't do it, or maybe we have to wait until January and all of this. 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, 3-9 last year, and they look even worse this year. It's been a rough start for the Rams, and you want to talk about a team with injuries galore. It's not just their quarterback who's hurt. Colorado State has injuries everywhere. They're a big concern. A very banged-up football team. And, of course, Utah State doesn't take any prisoners. And Utah State's going to remember what happened last year. They needed not one, they needed 2 pick sixes, including I think it was a 96-yarder or a 94-yarder to beat Colorado State 29-24. They were 28-point favorites in that ballgame and needed 2 pick sixes to win. So the markets were way off on these two teams last year. But, last year and the year before, competitive too, 27-14. It's not like this has been, excuse me, a blowout series, Drew, by any stretch of the imagination. But Colorado State, I don't like the tea leaves for this team right now at all. And when you see the type of season that they're having and the type of media reports that I'm reading, the Rams become a one-way squad. If I'm not fading them, I'm not playing them. And right now, in this point spread range, I'm not comfortable laying this price with Utah State. It's simply too high.
Yeah, good point there with Colorado State. And guys, we're talking with Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. NFL and college football combined last year, 58%. That's 81 and 58. That's 58% last year. Also this year, off to a 60% start, 24 and 16. Keep in mind, guys, over in his NFL over the last 5 years since 2015, impressive numbers, 185 and 132. That's 58% in the NFL 5 years running now. So really knowing his gridiron betting here, NFL and college football. And we got a special coupon code for this podcast only at sportsmemo.com. TC400. That's TC400 will take $400 off his NFL and college football full season service. That will get you all the way through the Super Bowl, all the way through the national championship game. It includes the prop package he'll be out with in the Super Bowl. That's TC400 at checkout for his NFL and college football full season service on sportsmemo.com. Check it out. Big savings there. TC400. We got 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific kick here. A big one. Ohio State at Nebraska. I believe College Game Day is there in Lincoln. We got 66.5 or 67 being the total, Teddy. Minus 17. That's the Ohio State Buckeyes on the road.
Yeah, I mean, the knee-jerk reaction to, we've got game day in town is great for the home team. And I'm not so convinced that's the case in this instance for Nebraska. Are they ready to step up to this challenge? Is this team ready for the spotlight to shine on them? Because especially at home, you see a team like Nebraska and they get off to a rough start, and all of a sudden the bottom drops out, and it's 28-0 in the midway through the second quarter, and you're like, oh boy. Game day, they automatically assume, it's game day, they're going to play great. No.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Nebraska's
That's an interesting
been playing a lot of in big games in recent years. It's not like these kids have had the opportunities to shine on a national stage. And I mean, the more I think about it, my first reaction was, hey, Nebraska, home dog. This line's getting silly with Ohio State. The more I look at Ohio State, the less I want to step in front of this team. I had a buddy that was at the game in Columbus last week. He said they were going nuts when they were down 5-0 to Miami O. It was like 9 minutes left in the first quarter. He's like, they were booing, they were swearing. That's a fan base that is absolutely spoiled. And of course, they responded with 76 unanswered. Step up in class here for Ohio State. We've seen them on the road already. They won at Indiana, and they did it pretty soundly. This is a team that is, when you have an elite team that is playing 60 minutes of football, those aren't teams I'm on a whole big rush to step in front of. And like I said, my initial lean was towards Nebraska. I'm a big Adrian Martinez fan. I think he can make some plays here, but that Buckeye pass rush is likely to be a problem for a quarterback who's holding the ball too long. If I'm Scott Frost, my game plan here is get the ball out of my hands super quick. And if that's the case, if Martinez is doing that, if he's just quick throws, the over makes sense to me in this one. So it's the kind of thing that if I watch that first drive, Nebraska's playing the game plan that I would play if I was going against Ohio State, maybe we'll get some in-game over in this one.
Yeah, good stuff there, Teddy. The College Game Day angle, I find that interesting. I mean, it's good for the fan base and a fun time, but I don't know if it necessarily translates on to the field with the home team. So good stuff there. We got Houston at North Texas. Looks like the Mean Green laying 7 at home, 59 the total in Denton, Ted.
Yeah, I mean, this is the line mover of the week, obviously, because after Houston fell to 1-3 and I mean, that was a crushing loss to Tulane. They were up 21 to they were up by 21 points, 20-7, and lose that game 38-25 right at the end. Tough beat if you had Houston plus. But then after the game, the senior quarterback, Derek King, says, and by the way, King, I didn't realize, he just broke Tim Tebow's record for most consecutive games with with a running touchdown and a passing touchdown. When you're breaking Tebow records in college football, that's impressive. Nonetheless, King decided, I'm going to sit the rest of my senior year and redshirt, and we'll come back next year. And the reports are he's going to come back to Houston next year and run Holgerson's offense. And it wasn't just King. A senior wide receiver made the same new move. And at 1-3, with their quarterback quitting and their stud receiver quitting, the markets have absolutely crashed on the Houston Cougars this week. We'll see if it's a dig down deep, type performance. Houston's, they were chalk at the opener here. They have every bit as much talent as North Texas does, with some questions at the QB position. Fine's pretty good for North Texas, but they haven't exactly been good home chalk. But the Houston situation for me, it's filled with red flags. That being said, don't be surprised the Cougars come out and play a game. It's not like they're we'll see if they quit on the season and the coach and the new stuff this week. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Houston come out and play a decent game against a North Texas team that may not be able to stop them as well as the markets think if I had to play the game right now, 58.5, 59, that seems fairly low for a game where both teams are likely to push the pace.
All right, Teddy, a couple games left here. We head to the SEC West, Arkansas at Texas A&M. The Aggies laying 23.5 in College Station, 59.5 total.
Oh, I just remembered something I want to talk. You think about something you wanted to say 3 games ago. I forgot about the weird spot for Utah State. They're at LSU next week, and you wonder if they're up big if they take their foot off the gas pedal. That's another concern if you want to lay with Utah State. Sorry, that was something I had a note, and it was important enough to bring up here. Arkansas, look, Arkansas is bottom feeder, man. I don't want any part of Arkansas against anybody that's any good. I really don't. And I don't know how else to say that. Starkle throws 5 picks last week. They gave up 402 yards passing to San Jose State. All right, and I know it was a no-show, and I know, all right, it's just a box score, and no team's as bad as they look one game. We've seen Arkansas look this bad all year. I have no interest in the underdog in this one. The question is, what kind of bounce back do we get from Texas A&M? Now, they've got a bye on deck and then Alabama. And the reports out of the local newspapers indicating that Jimbo very interested in this game. He wants to see them put together a good game before the bye, before Alabama. They're not. I don't think they show mercy here. Favor to pass.
All right, Teddy, 2 ranked teams up in the Pac-12. We got USC at Washington. The Huskies laying 10.5 at home, 60.5 the total.
So nobody's talking about Jacob Eason. Everyone's talking about, it's going to be Tua the number 1 pick, or Herbert's going to be the number 1 pick. Eason might be the number 1 overall draft choice, and he's not being talked about in that. If you've watched Washington play, the quarterback play this year compared to last year, night and day. Eason compared to Jake Browning. Browning stunk.
Yeah, is that saying anything, though?
Yeah, it's a Washington team that's been really good, but they haven't had a quarterback, so they haven't been able to compete with the elites. Now they have a quarterback, so they can compete with the elites.
Okay.
And from a point spread value standpoint, it's a Huskies team that had I went back a few years ago and did a study on the very best point spread teams in college football. And the commonality was the best point spread teams in college football consistently had 1 bad loss in the first couple of weeks of the season. Consistently. And then the power ratings were off on that team then for months thereafter. Well, Washington had that weird loss against Cal in the game that was delayed by 3 hours and started up again after midnight when all the fans were gone. Huskies might be a value team. They're really good. That being said, the back door here could be USC is going to do what they do. They're fundamentally sound. No. They control the trenches. No. They have playmakers. You betcha they do. They got big-time playmakers at wideout. And you worry about the back door here. Washington, Peterson's not pushing. Not going to. He's not a let's punch in an extra touchdown. He's a let's kill the clock guy when we have the lead and a 3-score lead in the fourth quarter. And I do worry about the back door here for USC because they do have that quick strike potential. But Washington's really good. Don't sell that team short.
I agree with you. This is an interesting handicap here in the Pac-12. That one at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. We got the late night game up next. Just 1 game left with Teddy covers. Guys, remember the coupon code TC400 at checkout for his full season college football and NFL at sportsmemo.com. Check out his handicapper page. He's got Duke, Virginia Tech, Friday Nighter free play up. Got to read it to see who he likes, but it's a good write-up here, and he's also 58% last 5 years in the NFL, off to a 60% start. NFL and college football combined last year in the NFL and college football, 58%, 81 and 58. So really doing well in college and NFL football. And you can get his full season package for $400 off. Really good discount there at sportsmemo.com. Coupon code TC400. Teddy, last game up, late night slate. And of course, we always preach money management. Don't chase. Don't bet too much on any one game. Don't bet anything you can't afford to lose. Having said all that, for the guys that did well on Saturday and want to put a cherry on top, also for the people that are not doing as well, wanting to watch the late night slate and get a bet in, we got UCLA at Arizona, 71 being the total, -6.5. That's Arizona laying at home. How would you advise people?
So UCLA put together one hell of a comeback last week. Let's give them credit for that. And when the opposing team turns the ball over 6 times and falls asleep with a 32-point lead in the second half, and your quarterback gets hot and your receivers get hot, and you make a bunch of plays downfield, that can happen. We see teams sometimes rally from behind. On the road, at home, they catch a little momentum, and boom, all of a sudden, it's, and it was a hell of a game. I hope you stayed up late to watch it. It really was a lot of fun to watch, especially if you didn't have a wager on it. If you had Washington State, it certainly wasn't fun to watch at all, although there wasn't any sweating down the stretch. But when we talk about UCLA this week, all right, again, it was plus 6 turnovers. It was a QB that got hot. They gave up 9 touchdown passes in that game, and now they got to do it again against Arizona. Arizona's not, they're not a team I'm excited about laying points with, but I'm not convinced that anything that we saw from UCLA last week was real, and I could only lay with Arizona if I was going to get involved in this one.
All right, that's it for the podcast. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. NFL, every game on the board. Remember the coupon code TC400 at checkout for its full season NFL and college football. We'll have Robbie Vino and Hunter Engelhardt on tomorrow, finishing off the NFL, every game on the board podcast. Teddy, any last words of advice here before we shut this down?
Yeah, good luck tonight. I hope you guys win all your bets. I'm in action in the NFL tonight, not in college football. You can get that play right now at sportsmemo.com. And thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. We don't thank our audience enough, but we like talking about this stuff. It's fun to talk about this stuff, and it's even more fun when we get excellent listeners and great feedback. So thanks for listening, and thanks for the feedback, guys. We really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at @Teddy_Covers, and good luck this weekend.
Absolutely, guys. Best of luck to you, Teddy. Best of luck out there, and we'll talk tomorrow. NFL, every game on the board podcast. Best of luck with your bets.